Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock. Let's go over the market. Let's talk about what happened today and what we can expect moving into pretty much the rest of this week, which is pretty much the rest of September. Obviously, next Monday is the literal final day of September, but nonetheless, let's just talk about it. So as usual, if you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. That link is down below in the description of the video. For just $3 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis, options flow, etc. on Tesla and sometimes the broader market as a whole. Every single day the market is open. A lot of posts today. Most of them were actually on NVIDIA today, but yeah, so definitely check it out. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that I just mentioned, on top of also getting NVIDIA daily updates as well. A lot of those today because NVIDIA finally made a move, which I'll talk about in the NVIDIA video. But jumping into it, Tesla closing the day still up though, 1.72%, which respectable day. Not no one can argue that. Compared to the market up about we'll say 0.5%, right? So Tesla's still doing pretty damn well, still holding well. Had a gap up, which is interesting. The gap up is interesting because there was obviously a lot of China news, right? There's a lot of, I believe, like stimulus being poured in, and the government is essentially pumping the Chinese economy for the most part, right? So China stocks today, phenomenal performance, right? All of them are up substantially, like 8% is like pretty much the lowest, right? Other ones like, Li Auto, XPeng, Neo up like 11, 12%. So, you can argue that Tesla is up kind of like in sentiment with China stocks because, a decent amount of Tesla's, revenue, profits, etc., and just business really is in China naturally. So that can be the reason for the morning gap up we had. Unfortunately, Tesla pretty much closed right where it opened, which is why now, of course, we have that doji candle, right? We'll talk about what that means moving forward pretty soon. But all in all, Tesla's still holding up pretty well. But we are at what could be a pretty important inflection point, an inflection point that not necessarily just specifically today's, price action, but the following price action maybe for the rest of the week or like early next week or something like that. This could be very, very important to determine what happens next with Tesla. So I'll give you my personal thoughts. Now let's talk about the daily first, right? The doji candle. So doji candle obviously implies the fact that, well, you have a long wick above and below. In this case, it's a long-legged doji. There's also a dragonfly doji, I think. I don't know if this one's a long-legged or dragonfly doji. No, it doesn't really matter, honestly. At the end of the day, it's still a doji candle. Essentially, pretty simply put, it just shows indecision. It just shows indecision. But the thing that's important is this is the first time we're seeing like true indecision during this rally for the past few days, right? Obviously, we had a potential bearish harami right here set up that we had, which got invalidated. But this doji candle is the first time we're seeing true indecision from Tesla, right? That, again, it's not necessarily bearish, but it's not necessarily bullish. It's just that stock is kind of like, okay, well, hey, we're here now. Now what? It's kind of what the stock is saying. You know what I mean? Like, where do we go? Where should we go now? Like, I don't know where I want to go next, right? Do we just go higher, or do we maybe just go sideways, or do we go lower? Like, the stock doesn't know where it wants to go next, right? That's kind of what this means and what it's telling me. But obviously, we can look at a lot of other factors to try and figure out maybe what it can do next, right? For instance, we have this channel, right? We're in this rising channel. We've been talking about this rising channel for a long time, but we also mentioned how this could have potentially been a wedge, which, I don't like as much, mainly because of the price action that occurred on these 2 days. I don't like the fact that it pretty much sliced and diced right below and above this wedge top resistance line. To me, it pretty much throws out this wedge as being a valid, or the top of this, what could have been a wedge, it doesn't make it as valid because, again, whenever I'm seeing it slices and dices through trend lines, that to me means that the trend line is most likely incorrect. So in other words, what a lot of people do is they take, for instance, what is the stronger trend line, the one that has more validity to it, which is the bottom, of course. And what they do is they simply copy paste it and literally put it at the top, and it makes a parallel channel in this case, right? Obviously, channels are bullish while you're going up. Now, we're at the top of that channel, right? We're pretty much right at that top of the channel. We almost dinged it almost to perfection. Now, this is a pretty important level, right? This is very, very crucial because, again, there is a chance Tesla does like this general level, like roughly around this, 253, 4, like 2, whatever. There is a chance that this does top out. Now, one person on Twitter or X posted about this as well. This is literally what I mentioned yesterday, but I kind of like the way he just showed it. It's a little cleaner in my opinion, right? So I'll just show it through here. So massive shout outs to him, by the way, Options Flies or Mo, probably one of the best people to follow on Twitter X. I think he's phenomenal. But he today actually just posted what we literally just talked about yesterday, right? It's just shown a little bit cleaner, right? Where Tesla back here, remember, it had that massive fall into a rally, which was arguably a dead cat. And then it retraced at 0.786 Fibonacci retracement, and then it went even lower. Then it did the same thing, went up to that 0.786, and then went even lower. And now we're kind of doing the same thing. Massive rally, kind of like these two instances, into a massive fall, and now we're retracing that fall like a dead cat. And we're pretty much right around that rough area of about 0.786 Fibonacci, which again, if history is any, I don't know, teacher, if you will, for the stock and its behavior, every time it's kind of been roughly around this level, and it has retraced a large move down upwards back like this, pretty much the exact same way that we're doing it right now, almost to perfection. Every single time, not every, like so far in the 2 times that it has been almost identical to this behavior, it has not only rejected pretty much around this level that we're at right now, it doesn't have to be to perfection, but around this level, and it also showed lower lows. So that's why this is important, right? This is why I view this level that we're at right now crucial, because if we fast forward, let's say 3 months from now, this chart can look very different, assuming this holds and assuming the bears come in pretty much right around here sometime maybe this week or next week, and we don't go too much higher, right? Again, I just want to make it very clear. There is still a chance, if this holds, we go lower. And I mean lower, as in lower than the recent overall low we had all the way down here at 182. Exactly what he's showing right here. It's not guaranteed. It's not confirmed. Nothing is guaranteed here. There's still time. We still need to see how the stock behaves. We have a lot of catalysts coming up. Earnings not too far away, right? What is this? October 24th, end of October. We have the robo-taxi event. We have, of course, delivery numbers like October 2nd or something like that. So there are some catalysts that maybe can influence this a little bit, but again, rising channels, they don't last forever. And at some point, Tesla will fall out, right? At some point, we will fall out of this channel. It's just a matter of, do we do it pretty much like this and we fall out from here? Or do we actually maybe come down here, maybe go up even higher, maybe even break this 265 range and then fall out of the channel? Those 2 small different moves actually mean a whole lot for me personally. Let me explain. And it's pretty much exactly what he said. Right? He said 270. For me, honestly, I mean, 270 is probably even better, but like even above 265 would be good, especially if we close a candle above 265. The difference is this. If, let's say, option 1, the bearish option, let's say we do reject around here, we don't actually break above 265 to 270, and let's say we never get above that level. It just doesn't happen, right? To me, what this means is the fact that Tesla most likely will, sooner than later, break out of this channel, and it puts us going even lower than 180 and all the way back down to the 170s, maybe even the green trend line around 160s, which I know as of right now sounds impossible. People are probably going to be like, wow, what are you on about? What are you smoking? That is just impossible. But what do you think everyone thought when it was here? What do you think everyone thought when it was here? Or here, or here, or here, or here? I'm sure everyone thought the same thing. Everyone's like, if you told someone at any of these levels that Tesla would be down at 140, they would think you're completely crazy and a lunatic. They would think and call you an absolute psycho. Or when Tesla was up here, right? Just recently, not that long ago at 260s. And you told everyone, hey, it's, there's a chance it goes down to 180 or 190. People will be like, that's just impossible. No way. Just keep that in mind, right? Again, I'm not saying it's going to, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I don't want to, spread fear or FUD or anything like that. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. It is what it is, right? If that makes you upset or happy, it does not matter to me. I'm here to say what I personally think and see. So that's option 1, right? If we do not break above this general vicinity that we're at, and especially we do not break above 265 to 270, that genuinely puts it at risk to go even lower and go lower than 180. Like, I just want to make that very clear in the next coming months. Like, that actually becomes a possibility and a realistic possibility as well. Just FYI. Now, the flip side, if we do break above that level, let's say we do go above, just make it simple. Let's say we do go above 270. And let's say we go up to, I don't know, we'll just say 280 as an example. Let's say in this channel holds for a while. And we come back down in this channel, maybe bounce up a little bit, come down, test the bottom, we hold, go up higher. And let's say we do something like this and then ultimately fall back down, because at some point we will fall out of this channel. You can't just forever and ever just be in this tiny little channel, just going up to, who knows where, like $10,000 per share, right? Obviously that doesn't happen. You will fall out of this channel at some point. It's just when is what's important. Because if we do this scenario where we do go up, we do break 265 to 270, let's say as an example to 280, and then we fall out, that's important because now we broke this trend, we broke above this high, we broke above that 786 Fibonacci retracement, and what that tells me personally is the fact that this behavior that I mentioned back here, which he also outlines back here as well, is now no longer valid. It's no longer a valid behavior for this specific instance. We have broke that behavior, we have broke that trend, and Tesla's actually bullish now. And the difference with that is the fact that, because I said, it'll still fall out and it'll still come out of the channel and it'll still correct on this run up, that's going to happen regardless. But the difference is the fact that the chances of it now going lower than 180, in my opinion, assuming we follow this path, becomes substantially less likely, right? I wouldn't say it's zero because nothing is ever zero, especially with Tesla stock, right? This thing can do pretty crazy things for better or for worse many times, as I'm sure if you follow Tesla for the past few years, you're quite well aware of that. But if we do make this move, it means to me personally that Tesla has very highly reduced the possibility of going that much lower, and the retracement won't be anywhere near as steep or painful as opposed to if we do the bearish option, which is, of course, like I said, we don't go above these levels, we don't go above 270, and we don't even go too far above this, mid-ish 250s region. We don't go too far above that, and ultimately we pretty much consolidate here and then fall down. That would be the bearish scenario. This would be the bullish scenario. Maybe not that low, obviously. It'll be something like this. Well, this one will go like, well below, right? So it'll be something like that, just as an example, right? That's just like a super duper quick, very rough way I am personally thinking about it moving forward for the next 3 months, 4 months, or whatever the time it may be to, play this out, one of these two scenarios. I'll put a lot of focus today on this because this is really important, because I genuinely believe Tesla is at a crucial deciding point that can determine the next potential few months. This is very, very important, right? Just to understand the trend, at least from my perspective and even Mo's perspective. And he's a much better trader than I am. Like, he generally is, and I have absolutely no issues admitting that. He's a phenomenal trader. He's been doing it much longer than I have, right? Great person, and he's right more often than he's wrong. So anyways, just thought I'd mention that. Now, again, when it comes to indicators, let's finish this off very quickly. We have indicators on the daily chart. You can see, bring up the bands. Bands still very, very overbought, not extremely overbought, but pretty damn close to being extremely overbought. MACD is still good. RSI is still technically bullish, but keep in mind, it is starting to get very overbought here, right? It can still technically get more overbought, but it is starting to get, very, very elevated, let's just say, right? Stochastic, still bullish crossover, but again, at some point, just like it did back here, this will cross down to the bearish side, which is probably one will fall roughly out of this channel. But as of right now, still bullish, still cross to the upside, still pointing up. BX trender still showing higher highs. Again, make it very clear, Tesla still bullish. Short term, it's still bullish. Even if it comes back down, let's say to about mid 240s, maybe even tomorrow or something like that, still bullish, in my opinion, at least, for now. As long as it's inside this channel and as long as these indicators remain pretty much roughly what they are, it's still bullish. It's just a risk reward up here is starting to, again, get lower and lower with each day. It keeps going higher to the upside, of course, right? And I mean, again, that's just my opinion. That's just the way I look at it, right? If you go to the 4-hour chart, you'll see very similar ideas. It's still bullish, still overbought on pretty much every metric, honestly, but it's still bullish and it's still it's not showing any obvious signs that it wants to roll over, which is very important. This is still not a stock I would short. I still even haven't sold covered calls on my second account yet. I'm still waiting. I'm being very patient about it, and I'm waiting for something more obvious of a top signal to show. As of right now, I'm being patient. I'm not really doing too much on it, I'll be honest. I'm not even trading it that much, I'll be completely honest. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what I'm seeing. But again, the point I'm trying to make today is the fact that we're entering very, very crucial times. The final thing I'll mention very, very quickly is this, right? This is the weekly trend line on TrendSpider. The difference here is the fact that this chart is on a logarithmic scale. This chart is a linear scale. This chart is a logarithmic scale. The thing that's interesting is the fact that the weekly is finally breaking out of the logarithmic version of the trend line, which is much more powerful, in my opinion, to break and close above. If Tesla can break and close above this, that could be a pretty good sign too, right? But there's still 3 days left in the week. And, with how violent Tesla can move, this thing can still pull off essentially what this candle 2 weeks ago pulled off as well, where it was above the same way we are right now. Ultimately, it just ended up crashing down below and closed well below the trend line regardless. So this is going to be something I'll be eyeballing this week as well. Can we actually close a weekly candle on the logarithmic above this trend line, or do we pull off what we did pretty much back here in July and close down below, even though currently second day into the week we are above it, right? There's still 3 days left. Things can still change, so just be really cautious and careful about that is what I'm essentially trying to say here. And, let's just watch and observe and, let's see how this plays out, right? Let's see how this plays out and let's see if we can get a confirmed close. If we do, then I still, again, expect a retrace at some point for Tesla. Most likely come back down to retest this breakout, which will actually kind of conveniently enough bring it back down to about the 232, 233 level, which of course is that major area of support. And then from there, I think Tesla, assuming it closes at least this weekly candle above, will show some potential promising signs moving forward. So anyway, enough yapping, long video. Hope you get the point. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you for the next one. Peace.